Hey everybody, this is David at Barnyard Bees, and today's video is about wax and feeding pollen. This right here is a 5-gallon bucket full of wax, and this little chunk right here that I did come from another bucket that I had absolutely packed full of wax. I mean packed, pushing it down as much as I could cram in it till it was heaping full, even fuller than this. And that's basically what I got right there. About a 1/2 inch piece. It's a little over a pound, pound and a quarter, pound and a half. And that'll basically make 8 sheets of foundation. So the video today is it worth it? Is it worth to make your own foundation? Is it worth it to buy a $2,000 embossing machine in order to make you your own foundation? With $2,000, you could basically buy 1,000 full sheets, deep sheets of foundation. Roundabout average $2 a sheet, depending where you buy it. I mean, I know it may be more, maybe less. So, and the time that it takes, I had to melt this down 3 times to come out with wax that clean right there. And the first time is really nasty. You get a lot of dead bees, old wax moths, dirt, propolis, everything. It's a nasty looking soup that you run through a screen and get out the big stuff. Then you scrape the bottom of the wax to get the remainder of the propolis and such off. You throw it back in, you melt it again, and you do that 3 times in order to get that. Very time consuming. And then on top of that, on top of your $2,000 embossing machine, you have to have a heated tote, some people use like a turkey roaster, like an electric turkey roaster, or some people make their own, where you'll put mostly water and then wax on the very top that they use to make the foundation with the paddle. And then you dip that paddle down into the wax, you pull it out, you put it into the tote that's full of water, and I've done this. And then you take that and then you run it through your embossing machine. And very time consuming and a lot of work. And my point is, if you're a commercial beekeeper and you run hundreds of hives and you're doing this full time, then that's fine, and you would probably need to do that to cut costs. But for the average beekeeper, that is a lot of work. And 1,000 sheets of foundation, how long would it take you to use 1,000 sheets of foundation in order to pay for just the embossing machine, not counting all your time and in it that you're going to put into making it? So I'm not downing that people do that, but I do know some people that do, and they need to do it because they're doing it full time, plus they have hundreds of hives. So in the long run, it pays off for them. So keep that in mind. And then the question comes up, well, it's all natural, it's chemical free and such. Well, at the end of the day, your bees pretty much fare the same from what I've experienced. I've done the homemade wax and I've done the bought wax, and put them in different hives and experiment, and it comes out the same. It's no better one way or the other. So if there is chemical in that bought foundation, apparently it's not enough to hurt the bees, because I've done both, and I've run in different hives, and it comes out the same. So don't let that worry you, that you have to go buy you an embossing machine in order to keep your bees alive. So that's today's video. And one other thing I was wanting to talk about. I'll put this on pause and be right back. starting just after, or right before Thanksgiving, we started feeding pollen mix. And this batch right here, I was in a hurry, so this is pure Man Lake Bee Pro artificial pollen. And what we normally do though is we'll take 2 cups of artificial pollen, Bee Pro, 2 cups of unbleached flour, 1 cup of sugar, and 1 drop of lemongrass oil. And mix that in a Ziploc bag, a gallon Ziploc bag. And then we use, it's just an old tin cake pan. And this is just an old lid that we have propped up. And the bees are not flying today. It's about 43 degrees. It's pretty cold. They was flying earlier a little bit, but very little. I wish I'd done this video a few days ago because the bees were everywhere and they was all over this pollen. But today they're not. It's too cold. And this will help get your bees built up through the winter. Just make sure if you do this that you have adequate honey stores in your hive so they won't starve out, because you feed pollen, you're going to increase the population. But come spring, we had hives last year that were just unbelievable. Come about mid-March, they were just absolutely packed and ready to split, and it was because we fed them all winter long. You know, you leave it, try to keep it covered good, because if the rain blows in, it'll ruin your pollen. This is propped up probably a little bit too much. You could actually even have that lid even lower. Or we have an old hive sitting here. You can actually even put that pan in the hive, put your lid on it, and they'll eventually find it. And that'll stay really dry too. I was just in a hurry and threw this together, but this works as well. So make sure, if you do feed your bees, make sure you're feeding dry sugar. Watching my previous videos, it shows how I feed dry sugar. You want to keep the moisture out of your hive. So that will keep your bees fed going through the winter. And then plus the pollen, it'll make them very strong, and you'll be amazed of the strength of your bees come spring. And that's about it today. Please like and subscribe. Check us out on Facebook. And just another reminder, we have packages and nukes for sale in the spring. We'll put a contact number in the description, or you can go to our website, barnyardbees.com. I'll put a link in the description. You can go there and you can put down your deposit. And that's it for today. Thanks for watching Barnyard Bees.